Good morning. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome back if you are returning, and a warm welcome to new viewers. If you don't mind, a like and a subscription goes a long way in helping the channel. Thanks for your continued support. It is very much appreciated. Today I'm going to chat about some Speaker's Corner reissues of Decca records that are truly exceptional and excellent value considering the prices of Decca originals. Unfortunately, some of the examples will be out of print, but can be found on eBay and Discogs for much less than its original counterpart. Several are still available at the usual websites, priced just over $40. What was it Mark Twain said? The reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Well, it seems no one exaggerates more than vinyl collectors. And typical of the internet, every ridiculous rumor is acted upon and talked about on YouTube incessantly. Of course, amateurs don't realize that one should check two trusted sources before filming. No, Speaker's Corner is still very much producing and selling records. I'll link to the video of Speaker's Corner Records' global distributor, Jan Sieverking, as he puts this silly rumor to bed. Speaker's Corner Records has been in business since 1993. They release records of all genres, but today we're focusing on their classical Decca releases. They do dabble in other labels, Mercury, DG, and others, but Decca is where they made their mark. As of today, over 100 titles released from the Decca and London catalogs. Because of all the controversy regarding the remastering and cutting chain and the prices charged, Speaker's Corner has a website called pureanalog.com. It gives a great deal of information. It's a veritable goldmine for analog junkies. I'll link it below. Suffice to say, all the records talked about today are sourced and cut from original analog tapes. As one of my favorite analog record company heads likes to say, no digital corruption. Speaker's Corner Records is very proud of its list of cutting engineers, including Rainer Maillard of Emil Berliner, Kevin Gray of Coherent, the late William Mackey, who did the bulk of Speaker's Corner classical titles, and also Decca engineer Tony Hawkins. Let's begin with Berlioz. It's simply fantastic. This is SXL 2009. All the Deccas are from the SXL series. This is with Ataulfo Argenta, the famous Spanish conductor the Paris Conservatoire Orchestra. I'm not sure exactly where this was recorded, but it's a wonderful recording, excellent performance, and he's a superb conductor. This is a wonderful interpretation. It's right up there among the tops, and again, I would say all of these I'm going to talk to you about today have exceptional sound. You can find it a little bit better someplace else, maybe a different company, but usually a lot more money. And of course, then there's the originals, and some people will always prefer the originals. But on the whole, these Speaker's Corner records are absolutely superb. Another great conductor that Decca used was Asame and his L'Orchestre de la Suisse Romande. Much like the Paris Conservatoire Orchestras, not really a top orchestra, but he got great results from them. They also got to record in Victoria Hall in Geneva, one of the world's most beautiful halls. And so SXL 2011 is an absolute winner. Fantastic piece of music, Petrushka by Stravinsky. That's the ballerina, there's poor old Petrushka. Who gets beaten up a lot in this ballet and finally, spoiler alert, gets killed. But is he dead? Check the story out. Anyway, it's a fantastic piece by Stravinsky, one of my favorites. And that's a wonderful, beautifully played, colorful recording. This is Ravel's beautiful ballet, Daphnis and Chloe. This is the complete ballet. This is SXL 2164. Very famous Monteur conducting with the LSO. This was done in Kingsway Hall with John Culshaw, the famous producer, producing. Not sure who the engineer was. Much like the Scheherazade shootout I did, there's always a shootout with Daphnis and Chloe. Which is the best Daphnis and Chloe? Is it this one, the LSO Kingsway, or is it the Boston Symphony Hall Charles Munch, the one on Chesky? You can't find it on RCA. Well, I guess you can, but it's the Chesky reissue is fantastic. Anyway, they're both wonderful, hard to choose. Maybe we'll do a shootout and dig into the weeds and see which one we like best. But this is fantastic. A Speaker's Corner, like when it was original, it was $40 or less. And it's absolutely superb recording and one of the best. And the jackets are very good too, very accurate. And the labels, wideband. I'm not an expert on Decca labels, but the labels look absolutely accurate. And this is a tip-on jacket. I'm not sure what they call them. Anyway, the jackets are beautifully done. This is another Ansem A. Stravinsky record. This is the Firebird. Now this one it's excellent. It's SXL 2017, but it pales compared to the Mercury LSO Dorati, which is the greatest Firebird ever recorded, I think. This one really shows the deficiencies of the orchestra compared to the LSO. But it's very good. Again, the hall is so beautiful. It sounds beautiful, and that's really half the battle with this piece. Firebird is the first ballet that he wrote when he was 26. Petrushka was the second one, and the Rite of Spring is the third. The Rite of Spring is actually quite easy to play. Petrushka is challenging. This Firebird is, I won't say what I think of it, but it's very, very difficult. Conducting these pieces is not difficult. Playing them on the instruments is very challenging. But anyway, they do a good job, but Anseme's interpretation is beautiful, but the recording is really something else. This is probably my personal favorite. This is A Midsummer Night's Dream by Mendelssohn. This is the famous Peter Maag LSO, soloist and chorus. Just the music is magical. Mendelssohn wrote it for A Midsummer Night's Dream, a production. But he actually wrote the overture, which is the most famous part, was when he was 17, which is amazing. It's got some fantastic parts, and it's very challenging to play because it's very fast, and the intonation of the first four chords is almost impossible. But the LSO played the hell out of it, and this is a beautiful recording. Now, I will tell you, I do have a different one. This one I actually gave to my nephew because he loves classical music now, which is great, and this is SXL 2060. But I bought the ORG Bernie Grundman cut on the 45, and it is better, I will say it. The Bernie Grundman cut is wonderful. I got a sealed copy. It cost me a lot of money, but it's one of my favorite pieces. But I did it a couple of times, never conducted it, but I love playing it. But I love the cover. The cover of the ORG, the original London Blueback, have a look at it. It's a real treat. Anyway, that's a very expensive. There's only 2,500 of them, and they're all sold out. Hard to get. This one you can still get, and it's much cheaper, but it's maybe 95% of the ORG. It's very, very good. Everyone has España, I would imagine. This is the famous SXL 2020. Another Kingsway Hall beauty from the late 50s. This is again with Argenta and the LSO. If you've got some time, maybe Google what happened to poor Argenta. He died in a very tragic way, but it's where he died. I'll let you guys Google it, but it makes you interesting reading. You might have to search. It won't be on Wikipedia, I don't think. Anyway, he was a magnificent conductor, and the LSO played beautifully under him. This is also being done 100 times on different versions and good ones. This is very, very good. It's very dynamic. I listened to it again this morning just to remind myself. Really transparent. The solos come out. The snare drum in the back left of Kingsway during all those three trumpet solos and the flute solo. Just pianissimo rolls. You can hear the roll. It's absolutely beautiful. Perfectly spaced. So it's a good one. Some of them, again, the ORG with Bernie Grundman is much more expensive. I've not heard it. I'm sure it's amazing. But this is very, very good. For $40, if you can get it. Wonderful piano one now. This is Sir Clifford Curzon playing the Beethoven's Emperor Concerto with the Vienna Phil and Hans Knapperbusch, a very fine conductor. This was recorded in the Sophiensaal, I think, in Vienna. I think in 59 or 60, 61. Anyway, the Vienna Phil were in very good shape. This is later after the war when they were not in good shape for obvious reasons. And this SXL 2002 is just spectacular. Beautiful piano tone, gorgeous playing. You know, being English originally and studying in London and being very prone to loving English musicians and the LSO and people, my friends and family know that. England was not blessed with the greatest pianists. I'm sorry to say, but they haven't been. Myra Hess, amazing. Some young ones that are very, very fine. Paul Lewis, Benjamin Grosvenor. Some people think Solomon is amazing. I'm not a fan. But Sir Clifford Curzon was a spectacular pianist. And it shows in the prices of his original Deccas. They're very expensive. But this is wonderful. You can buy this and get probably one of the best Emperors around. Again, the jacket is beautiful. There's the blue back original. Okay, that's a wonderful one. When you need to go to a great musician, always look out for Carlo Merigiani. I saw him once conducting London, the London Philharmonic, Beethoven's Seven, and with Brendel playing Beethoven's Fourth Concerto. It was just magnificent. And this is with two of the greatest symphonies ever written, Mozart's 40th and 41st, the Jupiter. When you listen to the last movement of Jupiter, many musicians consider that the single greatest movement of anything ever written by a composer. It's so perfect. Listen to the opening theme. This is the finale of the Jupiter. My personal favorite is the opening of the Symphony Number 40 in G minor. I'm not going to sing it for you if you don't know it, but as soon as you put it on, you'll know it. It's very famous, but it's very beautiful and a beautiful key, G minor. Great performance by the New Philharmonia. This was when Walter Legg, the boss of EMI, had come in, which Philharmonia was an EMI orchestra, and said, "That's it, instruments down, I'm disbanding the orchestra." Well, they went straight to Dr. Klemperer, who's the conductor, and asked him, "Could you stay?" We call it the New Philharmonia, and reorganized. He went, "Sure." So they did. And so for a while they were the New Philharmonia, and then they earned the rights back from, I think it was a Philadelphia lawyer who owned the name. And I think one of the part of the deal for the name back was he conducted the orchestra. And I think it was at the concert. I think I can't remember his name, Ling Tang? I can't remember, please forgive me. Anyway, he wasn't much of a conductor, the guy, but it was a nice present from the orchestra for getting the name back. Anyway, the New Philharmonia is basically the Philharmonia. A few players left after they broke up, but a lot of the great players. And the orchestra, this orchestra plays this music with Giulini so beautifully. Very highly recommended. This is another one of my favorites. This is the Mighty Arcana by Varese. It's also got Integral and, how do you pronounce that? Ionization, but en français, ionisation. I'm not sure. Both wonderful pieces, sirens, percussion. But Arcana is a masterpiece. It's not easy to listen to, and I'll tell you, it is not easy to play. And this is with Los Angeles Phil and Zubin Mehta. This is one of the great ones from, I think, 1967. He was pretty new to the orchestra. I was doing some research for a review. I think it was of the Mehta box set on compact disc. It's a fantastic deal. Very consistent playing. So I was talking to a couple of players in the orchestra about who was playing the horn solo in Brooklyn 4 and a few other things. And then I asked about Arcana. And the story went, they're in Royce Hall in UCLA, which is supposed to be a great hall. But I think the engineer and the producer made it a great hall with lots of reflective wood and stuff because it wasn't that great to begin with. That's the first myth that was blown out by this research that I was doing. The other thing they said was, because the performance of Arcana is incredible. I've heard 4 or 5 of them, and they're good, but this is amazing. And basically, they put it together as a paint-by-numbers performance. 10 bars here, 10 bars there, another 10 bars, everywhere 10 bars. And they got together this performance, and it sounds very smooth and very connected. What's amazing about this piece is that he wrote it a couple of years before the Rite of Spring, and it is very modern and very dramatic. Incredibly difficult to play, but the recording, oh my God, check out the first 5 minutes of Arcana, crank it up, and just enjoy the sound. It's amazing. So that's a great one. Decca, it's, I'm not sure the number, it's a little slightly different, SXL 6550. There it is. Highly, highly recommended. Even though it was paint by numbers performance, it was worth it. They did a great job. On to some chamber music now. Schubert, played by Austrians, the Vienna Octet, basically members of the Vienna Philharmonic. This is recorded in the Sophian Saal in the late 50s. Just a magnificent performance. Beautiful sound. SXL 2028. The reason I always recommend the Schubert Octet or Viennese groups is because of the players. I mean, this is with Willy Boskowski, who was the concertmaster of the Vienna Phil. I think it's his brother, or maybe his cousin, Alfred Boskowski. So all these guys, you're playing Viennese horns, German system clarinets, Puckner oboes, and they have the Viennese way of playing strings and phrasing, string playing. And it's just magical. So, and it's captured perfectly by the Decca guys. And whoever did the recut did a beautiful job. So there you go, stereophonic. And lovely cover. So the octet, that's really a wonderful recording. And finally, the Three-Cornered Hat. This is a very famous record. I think just about everybody and his dog has redone this. In fact, they've remastered it. I know that Esoteric did a really good one on SACD that goes for $400 or $500 on eBay. It's so good. And it is the best digital one you're going to find. They're also doing a vinyl release. And in their special vinyl special way, whatever that is, they're going to use some of the same mastering. So there'll be a digital step. But I reviewed the first two in Audiophilia, the Swan Lake and the other one, the Dvorak New World Symphony, and they're incredible. But this is a very fine reissue. The timpani at the beginning, the oles, the guys yelling at Teresa Berganza. Teresa Berganza singing in the back of Victoria Hall in Geneva. It's just magical. Plus the music, it's the Fire's masterpiece. So there it is. That's, what number is that? SXL 2296. Again, beautiful jacket. Beautifully done. So there you go. I think that's 10 or 11 that you can buy without worrying about it too much. There are lots of other versions of those that I'm sure if you have in your collection and you love them, you don't need them. But if you want to get some of the best Deccas in really, really good sound, that the cutting engineers at Speaker's Corner really were very respectful of the original Decca sound. So if you need one, go to Discogs, go to eBay and grab one. I think you'll really enjoy them. And if there's any rumors around on the internet, read first, check twice, then think about it. That's probably the best way. So hope Speaker's Corner's around for another 30 years producing these great records and loving the ones they have already. Thank you so much for watching today. Again, please like and subscribe. Stay well, and we'll see you in the next video.